Hi, my name is Emily Patterson and I'm going to show you how to make these cookies. Before I start baking, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees so it's ready when my dough is ready. Here are the ingredients that we need to make our cookies today. They're very simple, there's not a lot of ingredients, and then here's the tools that we need to make our cookies. So to get started, we need 1 cup of butter. So if you have it in the base cell sticks like I do, it's 2 sticks. You can either use it like this in its softened form and you'll get a thicker, fluffier cookie, but if you like it like I do, we're gonna put it in a bowl and we're going to melt it. And that way we're gonna get a thinner, but we're gonna get a crunchier cookie. And that's just the way that I like it. So that's what I'm gonna do. So now we need 1 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. You'll see that I pour it into the cup and then I smooth it down with the fork to make sure it's all pressed in. To the bowl, and the next thing we need is 1 cup of white sugar. So you'll see that I filled up the cup, I spilled it a little bit, but that's all right. And then I added that to the bowl as well. It should look like this. Now we're going to take our fork, I'm going to break up that packed brown sugar, and then we're going to mix it. When it's all mixed, it should look like this, and it'll have this nice thick texture. Now that we have it all mixed, we're going to add our eggs and our vanilla. So we need 2 eggs, 2 large eggs. Here I added 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You see here that I am using my fork to mix it well. We want it to be well combined, but we want to be careful not to over mix it. Now for our flour, we need 2 cups and 4 tablespoons. So you see here in the video that I overfill my flour cup and then I take a butter knife to smooth off the top. That way that we don't have heaping cups, we have perfectly measured cups. So I did the first one, I'll do it again with the second one, and then you'll see me add the tablespoons, which I just scoop out from the bag with a tablespoon. So here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've measured out 1 teaspoon of salt in this cup, which I've added into the bowl, and then I measure 1 teaspoon of baking soda using the top of the box to make it flat, and I add that into the bowl on top of the flour. So you see that I've put the baking soda and the salt on top of the flour, and I mix that into the flour before I mix it in with the rest of the liquids. That's because we don't want it to hit the wet ingredients, because baking soda and salt both clump when they get wet, and the flour blends more smoothly into a dough form. So once we've mixed in the salt and the baking soda, we then mix our flour mixture, our dry ingredients with our wet ingredients until a soft dough forms. This is what we want our dough to look like, nice and soft. Now it's time for the best part, the chocolate chips. So I'm using the Chip-Its milk chocolate chips because those are my favorite. The recipe calls for semi-sweet, but I find that the milk chocolate it melts better and it makes the cookies a little bit sweeter. In this clip you see me measuring 1 cup, but I ended up using the whole bag. So now that we have our chocolate in, we're going to mix them in to incorporate. You just have to mix lightly, you don't want to overmix. This is what we want our dough to look like it was mixed. Now you can either chill it or you can use it just as is. Now that I've washed my hands again, I take about a teaspoon of cookie dough, a heaping teaspoon, put it in my hand, form it into a ball shape, and put it onto the pan. I continue doing that, making the cookies 1 inch apart until my pan is all filled with cookie dough. Now that I have 4 rows of 3 cookies, I'm going to pop them in the oven for about 10 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes, so I've just taken the cookies out of the oven. I can tell that they're done because the outer ring of the cookies is a nice golden brown, whereas the tops of the cookies are still soft looking. That way we get a nice chewy cookie that doesn't get too hard. After letting them cool for about 5 minutes on the cookie sheet, I can see that the cookies have started to flatten a little bit, so I take a spatula, scoop them off, and move them onto a wire cooling rack. This allows the cookies to cool more evenly and stops them from burning a little bit on the bottom from sitting on the hot pan. And there you have it, a delicious chocolate chip cookie.